Google receives about 3,000 applications a day. That's about 1 million a year, all chasing about 4,000 jobs.
Jobs with drop-dead perks. Googlers, as they call themselves, can bring their pets to work, just as long as their coworkers don't mind pets or heavy breathing. That's better.
It's nice to be able to share a little bit of your life with your coworkers.
But will the company's founders wake up one day and realize their employees are having too much fun? Like these two clowning around in their silver capes? Oh, wait, those are Google's founders, billionaires Larry Page and Sergey Brin.
I think a lot of the core philosophy about how we think about people comes from that. Hierarchy is bad, big monolithic teams are bad, and the opposite of those are good.
Meaning small, creative teams, highly flexible, and so motivated.
I'm a photographer. I'm going to take your picture from a helicopter about 500 feet above you.
That Googlers are happy to do almost anything for their company, including standing out in the rain for the Fortune magazine photo shoot.
It could be a blizzard. People would still be out here. People love the company.
So can I have a job? No, I'm just kidding. I'm really kidding.
Can.
I'm very happy where I am. I'm not kidding, can I? No, I'm kidding.
And for the lucky ones who do get jobs at Google, they tell us it is easy to love this company and a little difficult to keep a straight face.
This is a phenomenal upgrade from my last employer.
I love my job.
I have more fun here than I do sometimes with my own family. Wait, don't quote me on that.
Now, the issue comes out in a week. The runner-up was Genentech. Whole Foods is also in there. Container Store, and just a lot of great companies. Matt?
John, I thought we had it good here at GE NBC. I think I have to pull it the normal way and then have some kind of employee meeting after all this. John,
exactly. I'm using it as a reference.
Okay. John Larson, thank you very much. And we're going to take you to that key.
Well, there you have it. You can think of this as a recruitment moment for Google, and I'm representing Google, so I'm trying to recruit potential employees for the next stage in the process, which would be a personal interview. So, Annalisa, are you still interested in Google? Are any of you others interested in Google? You are? You enjoyed the image of you can bring your pet, you can apparently bring a boa constrictor if you control the thing. And that, are you the only two? Nobody else? You would take? Yeah, the operation in Mountain View, which is near San Francisco, and then there's some others in different parts of the country and different parts of the world. So your husband would have to kind of agree to go along. Either that or get rid of him and start all over. I mean, there's always that option. Don't quote me on that. So 3. Now, what did you find appealing, both of you? And, yeah. And they're trying to do that for creative purposes of coming up with ideas. They used a slightly different term than I would have used, but heterogeneous groups, different people from different parts of the system, so they can bring different ideas to bear on some issue or problem. Fairly goofy stuff, and it tracks the article fairly closely about the wearing your jammies and bringing pets to work and the free food and the food. I mean, is it 11 restaurants? And you saw the kind of food that they're making. I mean, calamari to die for, and rack of lamb. I said, what? Pardon? Yeah, so during your workday, now your workday can go to 16, 18 hours, and sometimes 24. And that's extremely common in the company. And by the way, do you think that that's a required role behavior of working late? Yeah, it is. Yep. If the project requires it, this is where you have to be careful in looking at something like this. If the project requires it, it goes without saying that you will work until 3 o'clock in the morning, even if you are married with children. Now, they might make some exceptions there because they are quite sensitive to families, and they have on-site daycare, but I'm not so sure they'd have it at 3 or 4 in the morning. But it's a great example of a culture that came from two people. You saw them in the silk things, the capes that they were wearing came from two people who wanted to build a system that had unique features to it, and it does. Okay. Let me move this out of the way, and I'll deal with it at the break. All right. Now let me comment on a couple of details about the various stages of socialization. We'll take a break, and we'll come back and continue on, and I want to talk about the exercise, and the review for the exam. Within the anticipatory stage, note on page 131 that there is a series of socialization processes. Now be careful with these terms, especially on the exam. The chapter, I think, is clear. There are stages. Within the first two stages, there are processes. Specifically, within the anticipatory stage, the socialization processes include recruitment advertising and the company recruiters. So when I played this, I was deliberately playing it as if I represented Google and use it as recruiting stuff, and it attracted two people. And by the way, the rest of you, were you put off by this company? No?
Well, I don't know. The way I would like to work is I like to have set hours and give from 8 to 5 with us. I go home and do nothing. I just kind of separate my work life and life, and they seem to incorporate it all. I don't know. Not that I wouldn't. I don't know. They just seem like they play in between their shifts, and I'm more the person that likes to just get the job done.
Thank you for your honesty. And you need to do that with yourself when you're looking at a company. And I'm emphasizing this the way I am, because if you chose to go to work for Google, I guarantee you would fail. Because you don't want to work after 5. And they look at you, and it's unthinkable. Absolutely unthinkable. How about yourself?
There's no place I'd rather be than home, so I think that a similar view to this. I want to get home as soon as possible, finish my work.
Okay, a couple of others, just as some examples.
I think you have to be realistic. There are people taking over a million applications a year.
Yeah. Well, that's a separate issue. It's a matter of if you really are attracted to it, what would you do? And that's for the three of you. If you really are attracted to it, get the Fortune article, take a look at it more carefully than we are able to do it. It's in Parish Library, and take your chances. I could not work in this environment at all. Drive me totally out of my head. Why? It's a little bit more basic than that. What do you think? Pardon? Too unstructured. I'm independent. Leave me alone. That's what I told the dean. Leave me alone, and I'll do my stuff. I could not handle this groupie stuff. I can handle the calamari, and the gym, and the wash my car. We have some dogs. I could bring a Tibetan Mastiff to work. It's as big as a house, and it'd be kind of entertaining. But I'm too independent. See, it's a different reaction from yours. You want the two of you have the division between work and leisure, work and non-work, and I have somewhat the same division, not quite as strong, but I'm independent. That's why I'm in the job I'm in. Okay, next one. Notice in the anticipatory stage that I've included a socialization process called internships. Now, you can inquire with our advising staff on the internships that we have available within the Anderson School. I know they're there, I just don't know what they are. But this is a great way to learn about a company in which you might be interested, or learn about a company about which you know nothing in order to have the experience. And sometimes the internships will take you away from here to somewhere else, and you end up doing something not necessarily outside the U.S., but at least in another state. And the last one are screening and selection devices. These are whatever is legal under U.S. law, so it is non-discriminatory. It may have do with certain physical skills that you need to do a certain type of task. You remember we took all kinds of aptitude tests in the Air Force. I mean, just had days of testing, and I tested out to be a mechanic, and then I ended up in the hospital with impacted wisdom teeth, and they lost me at Lackland for 6 months. Yeah, I didn't exist. I said, Sergeant, I'm breathing. Anyway, that's a long story. They did. They totally lost me. All right. There are some others like realistic job previews. Please pay attention to that section. And then we get to the entry and counter stage, which we will pick up on after the break, because this leads to the film The Firm, and I would like to tie the two together. So let's take 15 minutes, and I can clean things up, and we'll restart. So let's go to the entry and counter stage. It's on page 133. And notice it says breaking in parentheses and quotation marks. And this is a deliberate attempt to use some words that describe what happens to us when we go through these various stages. And with the anticipatory stage, it had it as getting in, trying to get into the system, and then you get to entry and counter, and it's breaking in. Now, this one is fairly powerful in what it can do to us in giving us information about the system. And in your e-exercises that I'll want at least a few of you to talk about, several people commented about what they experienced the first day on the job and the like. So as we go through this, and as you watch these scenes from The Firm, think about the nature of the experience. Typically, the individual is fairly highly motivated to succeed in the system and wants to learn from about what's going on. And in this stage, you're going to either quickly or slowly learn the pivotal role behaviors, which are the absolutely basic, most required behaviors that you have to learn to be successful. Now, with Google, what do you think is a pivotal role behavior for the three that expressed interest? What is really required of you to be a successful... Now, remember, you're a noogler when you're new, a newbie, a noogler, but to become a Googler, you have to last a certain amount of time, and I'm going to say it's 6 to 9 months, based on our research. So what's pivotal in Google? Long hours, hard work, creativity, group work, loyalty. Say it again. Insanity. You make sure when you wear your jammies, you pick something that is unique. And, the slippers that have the animal heads on them. And if you have your favorite pet, it would be cool to bring a crocodile. See? You get zany. All right. I think you're getting it. Now, in a couple of observations, the companies will vary in how cleanly they do the entry and counter stage. Some of them, and I'm reacting to observations that you made in the e-exercises you submitted, some organizations are going to give you precious little information about what you need to do. And you're going to have to search for it. And that's a terrible approach, by the way. I condemn it, because I think we have a responsibility to our newbies, and I say that with pleasure, to our newbies to get them up to speed fast so that they don't have excessive stress from the experience and they know what they have to do well in the system. You also learn in the entry and counter stage from coworkers, so it's not restricted to a supervisor-subordinate relationship. But that's fairly typical, especially in the military stuff. But I know that I learned a great deal when I came back from Korea and I went into a new job type, it was data processing, that my coworkers were showing me how to do the right stuff. The sergeants would tell you, but you listened to the coworkers because they knew the tricks. They knew the ways in which you could do things in a more efficient manner. Now, this particular stage is designed to give us a new self-image. This is on page 134. And the new self-image includes unfreezing from the old self-image, changing to the new self-image and then refreezing